everyone and welcome to the RMTV Women's Podcast. This is episode 72 and I am joined by Chris Coughlin today in the absence of Amy. Amy was actually free to film the podcast this week, but she's gone home. So I thought I'll get Chris in, get back in the studio with like a nice little setup, and because I know a few people, someone commented on like one of our Skypes and was like, "Oh, have you been kicked out the office?" And I was like, "No, it's fine, I'm still here." We've got loads to discuss on today's podcast. It's quite a full agenda, so I'm hoping it's not going to be too long for you. We'll try our best to get through it in a reasonable amount of time. No Liverpool game to digest, obviously, because it got called off against United.
Frustratingly.
So I had a family party Saturday night, and I was like, I still had like a good time. I didn't go to bed till like 3 o'clock, but obviously got up at like 9 to go to Prenton, and I had like a few messages and like a few like things of like, "Oh, I don't know if the game's going to be on because it's been raining all night and whatever," and I was like, "Oh, it'll be fine." We played against Chelsea on that pitch. We should be fine.
It's kind of, this is all kind of the repercussions of that game actually, because obviously Emma Hayes made comments about it, but then Mickey Mellon, Tranmere Rovers manager, said that kind of with that game being on, he said all fairness to them for getting the game on, but it's kind of ruined it for everyone now.
It's kind of ruined it for the
well.
rest of the season, basically, hasn't it?
Yeah, because Tranmere as well, they've got a game on Saturday against Ipswich. Yeah. Then they've got an FA Cup replay against Watford next Thursday, because their game yesterday had to be postponed, which obviously then will affect Liverpool again in terms of the quality of the pitch, and when this game will get rescheduled for. Yeah. And you could say probably one of the biggest frustrations as well, it only got called off about 2 hours before kickoff.
Literally,
as well.
I think I knew about 10:30, but I don't think it went out on Twitter and stuff like that until about 11.
No, it was rather late, because I found out, I found out before 10 o'clock.
Yeah, because you messaged me as well, didn't you?
And then it was just the frustration of that, because the girls would have been preparing for it, and then all of a sudden...
Well, the girls probably would have been there.
Yeah.
More than likely, unless it was a case of the club and knew as I'm like, "Oh, don't set off yet."
Heavy rainfall as well.
Most of them travel to the game in their own cars because they only live in town, so it's quick, 20-25 minutes through the tunnel.
Frustration for me as well, if I'm looking at it from a Liverpool perspective, is that Manchester United have just come off a loss against Bristol City. Yeah. How fragile is their confidence? A chance to really kind of press home any sort of negativity Man United might be feeling, and obviously get a big 3 points to try and chase down Bristol City, and that's just taken away from you all of a sudden. Yeah,
because if you get the 3 points there, obviously Bristol won their game at the weekend. You're going into this match both level on points.
Yeah, we're
now going into this game 3 points behind with needing to win, because if Bristol win and go 6 points clear of us, that's tough for them, for us to like go into our next couple of matches.
I don't think it'd be an understatement to say a defeat will be catastrophic. I really don't. But the games are running out, and Liverpool, it's still a case of getting that first win on the board. Yeah. They have been so close. They have been so close on so many occasions, but nevertheless, they haven't got that. They haven't got that win to really kickstart their survival bid. Yeah. And Bristol City, you can't say they were overly impressive against Manchester United, because let's be honest, they got battered. Yeah. They got absolutely battered.
I think United hit the post a couple of times.
It was the proverbial smash and grab. I think Manchester United had something like 26 efforts, 72% possession. Yeah. The goal was Bristol's only shot on target.
It was Barcelona Celtic when we beat them 2-1. That's what it was.
Yeah, and that's just the kind of fortune that Liverpool haven't had this season. That moment where the ball breaks your way, ball goes in, and obviously it doesn't go in the other end. It was a good performance against Chelsea before the new year, and that was arguably the most or the closest Liverpool have come to that kind of result.
It probably came at the wrong time though. I thought the Chelsea match and the way we performed came at the wrong time, because you're then going in where you had like a 4 or 5 week period where there was no matches, and that's just the way the season is. That game was like it was dead early on in December, wasn't it, mate? Was it like the 11th or something?
Well, it's a game then, after that kind of performance, you want 3 or 4 games in a row.
You want another match, don't you? At least 1 or 2 more afterwards, where you can say you played Brighton after that match, after the Chelsea game, and it wasn't in the new year. we probably could have beat Brighton.
I get that. I totally get that. What I will say though is that I don't think they can use that as an excuse for not beating Brighton, because the chances were there. The chances were absolutely there.
Yeah.
Babajide, I think it's right to say she was perhaps unlucky to score, but maybe a hat trick, to be honest with you, because she had 3 huge chances, chances to get something out of the game for Liverpool. And, you know, Brighton, 2 of their strikers are out with ACL injuries. They are down to the bare bones in terms of attacking. They can still get a 1-0 win, and that's the difference with Liverpool. Their defence this season is good. You can't complain about the goals they're conceding, but it's the goal scoring column. Only 3 goals so far.
It's an issue.
It is a poor return.
Like, I think all season we only scored, like, I think off the top of my head of what I can remember, maybe like 9.
Well, in the league,
we scored 6 against Blackburn.
Yeah,
in the league, sorry.
Yes, right. In the league,
it's only like 3.
Only
I think altogether, if you take into account cup, it's more than 9 actually. About 14.
Yeah, because when you put into the Continental Cup group, it is more than that.
Yeah.
But you're playing second division outfits with that, and obviously Liverpool still didn't manage to get through that group.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of pressure on this. A lot of pressure, and so I do wonder what Vicky's approach to the game will be, because I think Bristol City would be more than happy with a draw. I don't think a draw would be the worst thing in the world for Liverpool, but it would still leave a lot to do. And just what do you think Vicky's approach to that game will be?
I think she's got to go all guns blazing, to be honest with you. I think a defeat in the next 2 matches is, I think, really bad for us.
Yeah.
I think that's our season done, to be honest. Because I don't see if Bristol beat us 6 points clear, if they didn't go on to win their next couple of matches and we lose at one or 2 more, they're miles ahead of us then. And they're really your only opponent at the moment. And if you can't even...
And I think mentally that would just be a huge ask, because the players know that they're playing well, they know that they're creating the opportunities, but when they aren't getting the results to reflect these performances, all of a sudden then it does affect you mentally, and then you start wondering where this win's going to come from. Then before you know it, you're gone.
Yeah, it's got to be so frustrating for the players though, because if you look, it's only most of our games have been 1-0 defeats. It's always been by 1 goal.
You know, good performance against City, good performance against Arsenal. When you look at Bristol City, they've been absolutely thrashed by these sides.
Yeah.
That's
like 11-1 at Bristol, 11-1 against Arsenal, and the week before we played them, and they just about got through with a 1-0 win. Do you know what I mean? And you're thinking to yourself, what is going on? Like that's it. Like, this team is so much better than what we're playing. We've just been, in most matches, we've been so unfortunate and so unlucky.
Yeah. And I think Casey Stoney was speaking before the postponed game as well. And it's an interesting comment with her when she said the WSL needs Liverpool to stay up. Now, I think for the women's game, Liverpool, obviously with the success of the men's team over the last few years, it's a huge name in any walk of football. Yeah. So I do think Liverpool staying up would be a huge thing for the WSL. Yeah. And I completely understand where Casey Stoney's coming from. Yeah. It's just whether Liverpool themselves have the ability to stay up. Yeah,
and that's it. And like, at the end of the day, we're like fans of Liverpool, a club, both men and women, and obviously we're sitting here like talking about it from like a media perspective as well. But I just want us to stay up. I just want us to win a few matches, like get some goals. Like Sweetman Kirk, I feel so sorry for her because she's just not catching a break. She gets a goal against Blackburn, and you think, oh, this is it. This is the moment for her. The next couple of matches now, she's going to kick on, and she just hasn't. And there's no. You wonder what happens with players kind of out of season, to be honest with you, because last season obviously on fire, top goal scorer. This season, as you say, can't buy a goal for love of no money, and you wonder what kind of goes on behind the scenes with the training, the intensity. Sweetman Kirk herself, how much belief or maybe even the other side, how much lack of confidence. It's got to have affected her, because any striker would, if that's your job is to score goals. Any striker in the world, if you're not scoring goals, you can't be feeling good about yourself. Yeah, exactly. So that is something Liverpool need to turn around, and
it's not as if we're only a few games into the season now. We are really approaching the business end at quite a fast pace.
You get into the end of January now and you're thinking, oh gosh.
You get into the end of January and you're thinking, there's only so many times we can say the performances are there now because it's a results business now. It really is. It really is.
I'll quickly run through the scores from the other matches of the weekend then. Man City beat Everton 3-1. Brighton 0, Arsenal 4, Chelsea 6, Bristol City 1. Tottenham beat West Ham in the last dire moments of the game, 2-1. Reading 1-0 Birmingham. You're probably looking at all those results. You're not surprised by any of them really.
I am glad that we're seeing a title race. I'm glad that we're seeing a proper title race, to be honest with you, because Arsenal, a three-way title race as well. Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, just battling it out, scoring plenty of goals, showing their quality, and I think that's great news for the Women's Super League. Arsenal's game against Chelsea at the weekend.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Not ruled out, sold out. Sorry, as well. And again, just showing how much interest is being taken. If Arsenal win that, you could argue Chelsea are perhaps a little bit too far off, because then that would be a gap, and then it'd be up maybe Manchester City to keep up with Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I had the pleasure of seeing Arsenal just before the international break when they played Everton.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen them on TV and stuff, but it was the first time I'd actually seen this current Arsenal side really up close and personal. And different class. Yeah. Different class. They really are. The control they have, the intensity they have, the arrogance that they have, to be honest with you, it was good. It was very good. And speaking to Miedemar after the game as well, and the kind of humble nature about them that they know they're very good.
Yeah.
And I even said to Miedemar, because from my own personal opinion, I believe that she should have won the Ballon d'Or. And she was just humble. She said, look, Rapinoe won it, fair play to Rapinoe, but she's just focusing on herself, despite how fantastic a year 2019 was for her. And that's what I get the feeling with amongst the whole Arsenal group, in that they just know within themselves, they know if they're in the spot of bother, they know they've got that extra year, really. Yeah. So that's why, and I'm glad there's a title race, as I say, but despite that, that's why I think Arsenal will have the edge in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think I said in my predictions at the start of the season, I think Arsenal do it just from looking at their squad. And we said we were hoping Chelsea were going to be back up there, because obviously last season they didn't really do what everyone expected them to.
They were gone for the 5 games last season.
And obviously Sam Kerr coming in, just the attractiveness that the WSL now has for the likes of a player of her calibre to come in and want to play in this league. Obviously, there's a big gap between Arsenal at the top and us at the bottom. There's a huge gap. But, that's like in any league. Yeah. The best teams are always going to run away with it. It always happens like that.
At the end of the day, you expect teams with better players to
do it,
obviously,
100%.
Compete for titles, compete at the top of the table. And it's a funny one with Nick Cushing as well.
Yeah.
Leaving to join New York City. Now, first of all, if I got offered going to New York City,
you're not going to say no, are you?
New York,
you're definitely not going to say no.
I think I find it pretty tough to say no.
Yeah.
But as well, Rich Laverty was saying on Twitter as well that he feels that Nick Cushing, Manchester City, they're just not getting perhaps the investment.
They're not. I look at Man City from when they won the league, last time they won the league a couple of seasons ago. Obviously they won the cup and stuff like that since. But I don't see them being the team that they were. And they are phenomenal. They are a brilliant team, great squads, great group of players. But I just look at them sometimes, when we played them, I was like, we're going to win here. We can win this. We can win this.
I look at the way kind of transfers have happened now, and even I wonder if Sam Kerr coming to Chelsea kind of had a bit of something to play in this, if you get me, because say for example Paris and Bronze, players of that ilk leave Leon, but then Chelsea are still able to attract a player like Sam Kerr. So on the one hand, you've got City who are trying to push for the title, but their players are being tempted away, albeit bringing in players like Pauline Bremer, German international, fantastic goal scorer, but they're not able to kind of keep the calibre of Paris and Bronze, whereas Chelsea can bring in the calibre of Kerr.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because they would have looked at that, City, and both manager and players and backroom staff and whatever, and gone, wow, like why does Kerr want to go to Chelsea, who obviously didn't win the league last season, same for City, but Chelsea didn't really win anything, didn't win any trophies, did they? Why does she want to go to them and not come to us, who are arguably a better team at Chelsea at the time?
Yeah. When you look at the facilities, I think I've said it before, but the way Manchester City train as a club, so youth team, women's team, men's team, the way they train as a whole at the Etihad campus is just second to none. It is staggering. Yeah. As we say, what about Chelsea has tempted Kerr there? I know, I'm not saying City were in for her, but why is Chelsea a better prospect than Manchester City? And you wonder, because Nick, he said that the timing would never be right to leave, but you just wonder, have things like that, like those kind of transfers, played into this in terms of the long term?
I think from when City were like the dominant force of women's, like English women's football, they haven't really gone up since. They've stayed where they are.
Look at the Champions League performances as well.
Yeah, like they've stayed where they are. They're still at the top. Still one of the best teams in England. Like we're not saying we're not saying they're rubbish. Like they are amazing, but they haven't gone to that next level yet.
No.
And maybe we're thinking, Nick Cushion, like that's a bit of a mad one for City, but maybe City as a team needed a fresh new manager.
Yeah.
Because he's been there for a couple of years now.
He's taken them so far.
Yeah.
Winning leagues, FA Cups.
He's won everything, he's won everything apart from the Champions League.
Yeah, and you can't complain. If you're a City fan, you can't complain with the service that he's given. And as I said, if you get offered the chance to go to New York City, MLS, that's a growing league in the men's game. You're not going to say no to New York City, are you? So you can't blame him whatsoever. And it'll be a miss for the league, but you wish him all the best. And City certainly, they'll be looking to continue the good work that he's laid the foundations of. 100%.
Be interesting to see who they get though as manager.
It will, because they'll have an awesome squad to take on. They'll have an awesome squad to kind of carry on the good work. And the pressure that'll come with it as well, because next season, next season an early exit from the Champions League. How much longer can that be tolerated?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge. Obviously, competing for the WSL, that is a challenge in itself. And given how competitive the league is, you could say how competitive the league is can kind of hamper English teams in Europe. But you've got to try and balance the Super League with the Champions League, and that for anyone is a tough task.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we'll move on to news then. News. Lucy Bronze won BT England Player of the Year 2019 alongside Jordan Henderson. Well enjoyed. Love you. Just adds to her tally of things that she has just...
She's gone from strength to strength, isn't she?
I've listed everything she won in 2019. I'm going to read it out. It's quite a long list. So she won the Champions League, she won the French League, she won the 2 French cups, like equivalent to like our Continental and FA Cup. She believes with England, was in the FIFA World 11, won the World Cup silver ball, was in the Globe Soccer Awards best player of the year, UEFA Women's Player of the Year, 4th place in the World Cup, 2nd in the Ballon d'Or, 3rd in the best FIFA Women's Player. And then she just, here it is, England's best player as well, just to top it all off.
Nah, thoroughly deserved. We go back to Phil Neville saying that he believes that she's the best player in the world, and I think there's a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily debate that. I think she's a player who is by no means dumb at all. She can go from strength to strength still. She'll want to win more with Lyon. She'll want to just carry on, and she will see winning England as a holy grail, or winning something with England as a holy grail.
You could see how upset she was when we got beat by USA.
I'd imagine that the whole of the England squad, to say that there is the Euros in England in a couple of years' time. That for them, if ever there was a tournament that they would win. Say, I genuinely believe this, that if England had won the World Cup in France, and then they'd won the World Cup, they won the Euros in England in 2021, I genuinely believe the Euros would have been held in higher esteem from them, because how often can you have a tournament in your home country? Yeah. So whilst the World Cup is the pinnacle, but I just think a tournament in England, you honestly can't beat it.
Yeah, and I think once you get past the Euros, Lucy Bronze probably has got another World Cup in her.
Yeah, I'd say she's got more than enough for that.
Yeah, she's definitely in the next World Cup squad, but I don't see it. I don't see her going to another one.
No, I reckon that she probably will start to move on.
Yeah.
There's a few players I think that could start to be phased out, and then you've got to wonder about the next breed.
Yeah.
Just go back to Man United actually, because I know the game was being called off. I was quite looking forward to seeing Lauren James in action, to be honest with you, because I spoke to Willie Kirk, Everton manager, who worked with Lauren while he was at Man United briefly, and he said that he genuinely believes that she can go on to be one of the greats, really, because Reece James's sister as well.
Yeah.
Her dad trained them both from a young age to basically from the moment they could walk to kick a ball, and you can see it paying off, because I honestly don't think I've seen a player of her age that talented. I don't. Wow. I think she can, if she applies her attitude right and she goes from strength to strength. Yeah. We could be sitting here in a few years' time saying she is one of the greats of women's football, and even at such a young age still. Obviously, Reece isn't a bad player either.
No, he's alright, isn't he?
I think that she will certainly, even still being a teenager, I reckon she'll be eyeing up a spot for the Euros, and certainly for the World Cup in a few years' time.
That's it, because obviously we've got Olympics next year, and I think that squad's probably pretty much done and dusted for who he wants to take. But then after the Olympics, whenever the next England camp is after that, he's got to be looking at bringing fresh faces in.
Well, the likes of Chloe Kelly and Lauren James, just for those two, they are England stars of the future. Yeah. Happy birthday, Chloe, by the way. I think
is this a birthday today?
Yeah.
Was she like she's 18 or something?
No, she's a great player. Great player. First year for Chloe, really fresh from injury as well, which is just taken from strength to strength. She's had a few knocks recently, but I think she'll be fit for the weekend. Yeah. But yeah, I just think in terms of England going forward, and bronze will be a huge part to play in that. Yeah. There is a good conveyor belt, and the future is bright.
Yeah. In terms of Lucy Bronze, then, do you see how much longer do you think she stays in France at Lyon?
Because how much longer does she want to win things?
Well, exactly. But it must get to a point as a player where you've got to look at it and you've got to think, she's won everything in France. She's won everything with them. Yeah. She's obviously won the Champions League twice. On course to win a third one this year. They're obviously still in the tournament, probably the favourites to do so. But what point do you get? You think, I want to go somewhere else and see if I can win that? Because she's conquered England. She's won all the trophies in England as well. So I'd sort of be contradicting myself for her to be like, oh, she might come back here. But where else?
Next stop, USA. That'd be the obvious one, wouldn't it?
USA. I think the Spanish league's on the rise in the next couple of years. I think that's obviously getting more and more attention.
Well, with Atletico Madrid and Barcelona doing so well in recent years in the Champions League as well.
Obviously, like Real Madrid have just got their team up and running, and the next 2 or 3 years, you don't know where they're going to be. Yeah,
because they'll want to be some sort of Galacticos power, as Real Madrid are. I think if she is to move on, I do think it'd be USA, because I don't really see. Is it harsh to say I don't see the point of her coming back to England?
I don't, to be honest.
Like, I don't get what more she would achieve. Yeah. And if she is looking to achieve stuff, go and conquer America.
Exactly. And who would she go to? I mean, you don't know where Liverpool as a club's going to be in a few years, but she's been there, done that with us. Been there, done that with City. Yeah. Would you see her at Chelsea? Would you see her at Arsenal? Like,
not the way that.
The way them two teams are going and the players that they've got, in the next 3 or 4 years, I don't see Lucy Bronze playing for either of them.
Yeah, you always want to bring in quality, and Lucy, of course, would bring in that. Yeah. But if you want to kind of keep coming through the fresh faces and those kind of things. How much space is there for her?
Yeah.
With that, and look, she can go on for a long time, Lucy Bronze. But if she is to move on, I would expect America. Okay. But as I say, you're not going to get bored of winning things.
No, you know, that's very true. I think another season or two in France is definitely.
Yeah, not a bad place to live as well, really.
Yeah, should be all right,
playing in front of
she'll be fine.
Nice big crowds as well.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, enjoying their football. That's the main thing. I think if you're a sportsman and it is a short career. You've got to play somewhere where you're enjoying your football, and she's enjoying it at Lyon.
Yeah. Well, another announcement that came out, was it this morning or like late last night? Was it this morning? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. Was it yesterday?
Sure. I think so.
It's either yesterday or today. I'm really sorry, whenever it was. But Eni Luco has retired from football.
This morning,
It was this morning, wasn't it? Days just rolled into one.
Yes.
She has announced her retirement from football. So she said she was leaving Juventus, like, obviously back end of last year. And she said she was coming back to England. And we were all like, oh, what team is she going to? Who's she going to? Because she's been to Chelsea. She's probably not going to go back there. Like, what team has managed to get her to come back? And obviously... 32. She's not old. She's not young either.
I was stunned when I saw this earlier. To be honest with you, just sitting there prepping for the podcast, and then I get the notification on my phone saying Eni Luco's retired at age 32, and I'm just confused by it, to be honest with you, because we're writing down notes here about potential transfers, and I wrote down, will Eni Luco return to the WSL, and then kind of just popped in my head that it's like, I'm not saying Liverpool will be our first choice, but it's one of them that if you don't ask, you don't get, and that's a great belief with me in terms of transfers, that look, you can approach someone and they can just say no, but if you don't approach them, then they've got no chance of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible career, over 100 England caps. Yeah,
102 shares, I think, in total.
Yeah, I think five FA Cups.
5 FA Cups.
Women's Super League, playing for Juventus. I am genuinely surprised, to be honest with you. I know she's doing a lot more broadcasting, and it could,
that's the avenue that she's going to go down, isn't it?
Absolutely, and she'll be a very, very good pundit. I'm just surprised that, because I can't see her body giving up on her. No, not at this stage. Certainly not.
I think she's done something similar to what Alex Scott did. So she started getting gigs on like BBC and stuff like that for the men's footy. And then she retired from playing for Arsenal and took that role full time because it was the right moment for her, and she was getting more and more screen time and people were enjoying her on screen. And she thought, I can either just keep doing it on the one-off every now and then when I've got the time when I'm not playing for Arsenal or whatever, or I can take full advantage. Yeah. And I think that's what Eni Luco's doing now, because obviously she's got the whole thing with BT Sport, hasn't she? Yes. She's been doing it for a while. She's done the Champions League matches as well. Like.
She's a good pundit, and she'll be whoever she BBC, BT, Sky, whoever she's on. Well, she's on all three, to be honest with you. She'll be good. It'd be interesting to read more about her reasoning for it. As I say, just if it is one thing, if it is a combination of several things, but fantastic servant to the women's game and someone that's really helped raise the profile over the last decade or so, certainly.
Definitely. Well, we were lucky enough to meet her. We went to the FBAs last year because obviously she presented our category, and we still haven't got the picture with her. Okay. We got like a proper nice professional like picture of us with the award and Eni Luco next to us, and we still haven't got it. And I'm just saying, FBA's just slacking. Like, where's my picture? Do you know what I mean? Because it's nearly a year on, and my picture, I still haven't got it. Fuming. Couldn't even, like, that would have been a lovely tweet this morning. Us were there on that picture.
Tweet them.
I have. Don't you worry, I have. Nothing. I'm going to send a strongly worded email. The other big news, obviously, me and Amy covered this, on like a short video over the weekend, but Liverpool, Everton, next Merseyside Derby at Goodison.
Very much looking forward to that. Yeah. Obviously, we all had the honour of going to the derby at Anfield. Yeah. One of the most surreal moments, I think, of...
It was mad. mad.
Probably my life, never mind my career, to be honest with you.
Like, we were all like little kids in the street. We were all sitting on the same row, so it was like us two, Amy, Emma was there, like Leanne was like a few rows back, and we were all just like, oh my God, like proper little kids, just like smiling the whole time. Fortunate
enough as well, I got to go pitch side, got to go down pitch side, which
I know. I'm like, you're just sitting there and like just waiting, because like I didn't know what we were doing afterwards, and like I'd just finished like uploading a few things, and I just see a picture of you on pitch side, and I was like, what? How did that happen?
No, just
like, where was I?
Going to interview Willie and Vicky for the World Feed, which was, again, you talk about most surreal moments in my career, most surreal moments in my life, to be honest with you. Just that was fantastic, and I think we all kind of felt, maybe not pressure on Everton, but after the Anfield Derby, we all kind of felt like it was kind of like a...
Be silly not to,
let's get to Goodison. And also, Everton are, it's public now, Everton are expecting to move to Walton Hall Park in February. So I'm kind of expecting this to be the game at Goodison. And then just to kind of get Walton Hall Park ready and then moving there.
Yeah.
Which I think will be a big move for Everton because, well, Southport has been a good home.
It's too far.
It's too far, and I expect them to get quite good attendances at Walton Hall Park, to be honest with you. I reckon that'll increase the interest a lot, being closer to Everton as well, obviously. But being at Goodison, it'll be just a great occasion again. There'll be season ticket offers
but I think
for Everton fans as well.
I think tickets are on sale. Tickets got to be on sale now. We tweeted the link last week, but I'll put it in the description as well, because I think I don't know whether you have to go through like Liverpool for the away ones, but I don't know whether you can get them on the Everton website as well.
I thought it was interesting when Liverpool introduced the whole away thing anyway, to be honest with you, because I wonder whether there'll be more integration at Goodison Park.
Well, yeah, because there was a bit of integration at Anfield as well. You could see different sets of fans dotted about.
I think if you talk about raising interest, I think that's
a
necessity, to be honest with you. And between 23,500 at Anfield, I would like to see the same at Goodison, if not more. Given, as I say, Liverpool don't play that weekend. Everton play the day before, so hopefully, again, families go along. And
it'd be good. It'd be good if you had like a Everton first team member, sort of. Like, obviously Liverpool did the whole thing, like Klopp did it, like a few of the players did it, and whatever, like did like an intro of it. It'd be nice to see the same thing come from Everton, and I'm sure they will do, because they're all about that. Like, they're really good as like a club, Everton. So I'm sure you'll see all that type of stuff, but I hope we can get one back. You won at Anfield, now we're going to win at Goodison. Like,
it'd be a marker. It'd be an absolute marker, because, as I said, I know Everton aren't in amazing form, but their defeats have come against strong opposition. Arsenal, they gave Arsenal a game. That's the important thing to say, because Everton last season wouldn't have given Arsenal a game. Certainly the first half of the season wouldn't have performed
Everton last season are where we are now. They were second from bottom thereabouts. Like.
And it's kind of looking at, if we talk about transfers, I'm sure we'll get onto this, but Izzy Christensen, attracting a player of that quality is a huge thing for Everton, a huge thing for the Women's Super League to get it back. And that's what Liverpool have kind of got to aspire to. And they've got to look at the model that Everton have worked on in the last year or so. And that's a really good model that Liverpool can follow on with. We'll
go straight into transfers then. Obviously Izzy Christensen come from Lyon. Shouldn't have the best of times over there. Obviously got a really bad injury, missed out on like the World Cup and stuff like that. Do you think it was just a case of wanting to come back here just to get games on a regular basis? Because she's competing with a lot of top quality players in Lyon.
A lot of top quality players at Lyon, and you look at England's central midfielders now as well, prepared to get back in the England side. But again, just before Everton played Arsenal, I spoke to Willie Kirk beforehand, just before the game, just to chat. Got a good relationship with Willie. And
seems like a nice man.
No, really, really nice guy. Really nice guy just to talk to. He's got time for everyone. He's a top bloke, and what he's done for Everton. I said to him, like, how much credit does he take for transforming Everton? And, obviously very humble.
He's like,
it's a team game. But I spoke to him about transfers, just said, are you looking to do anything in January? And he said they would be busy, looking at a few players. And he basically said there was one player in particular that when they were close to getting over the line. Obviously, they've got her over the line now.
Yeah.
But when it was going to get announced, he said that people would just kind of see it and go, "Wow."
Yeah.
And obviously, he didn't tell me who it was.
Yeah.
But as it came along, and as I saw the notification,
and stuff like that, yeah.
And I get through that Izzy Christensen's joined Everton, and my reaction was, wow.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, yeah.
Because Everton are kind of stacked at central midfield, and that's what Willie said to me. He said, look, we have got options at centre mid. We've got a lot of options at centre mid, a lot of good options. But are you really going to turn down a player of Izzy Christensen's quality? Because that would just improve the side. Of course it would improve the side.
If it came out at like end of transfer window, end of season, that Everton had the option to sign Izzy Christensen in January and they didn't, I think if you went to most Everton fans, they'd be like, well, why? Yeah. Why didn't you? And if they would have come back with, oh, well, we always had like a fair few players in central midfield, I don't care. No. You want the best players at your team, and she is one of them. Yeah. She is a really good player.
You've got Graham, you've got Pike, you've got Clemeron, Stringer, Cargman's played centrally as well this season, but Christensen is Izzy Christensen, and
tops that list.
Despite how many injuries she has had, fantastic player and will improve Everton markedly as well.
Yeah.
Even more so.
There was another rumour that came out for Everton this morning that I don't know whether a lot of people know it. If you're not really like involved in women's, if you're only really involved in WSL, then you might never have heard of it. But Hayley Vasso, Australian international winger, currently plays for Portland Thorns in the NWSL, who like I'm really upset with at the minute because they're selling all the players and I'm just like, no, like stop. So if she then goes, like, if she signs for Everton, that is a massive signing as well. Yeah. Massive.
Because Everton, this season, one thing they brought into the side massively is pace.
Yeah.
Massively. Chloe Kelly, we talked about her earlier. She is a player that will just go from strength to strength. Yeah. And if you can get Chloe Kelly one side, Rasso the other, and then a prolific striker, I think that's the one thing Everton are missing. And if Everton had a prolific striker, they would transform.
Yeah.
But certainly Rasso and Kelly either side of a prolific striker, and they will transform as a side. They really, really will.
It's
but
crazy.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's what I mean about the model. Everton have got a structure. They know what direction they're going in. Yeah. They're playing to a style that they know suits the players that they have. Yeah. And that is what Liverpool have to kind of aspire to look at, really.
Yeah. Is there anyone in particular from a Liverpool perspective? If someone came to you and said you can sign a defender, a midfielder, a striker, which one are you going for? And who's the top? Who's like, you've got to go and get here?
Are we talking about availability or dream?
Availability.
Oh, I was going to say Alex Morgan.
Imagine, bring your child with you as well. Like. Alex Morgan, summer 2020.
I saw her Morgan hashtag Morgan 2020 along with Mbappe.
Imagine them both unveiling at the same time and like they're Nike kids because they're both they are both Nike athletes.
Yes, I would love that.
That'd be funny though.
I think you're looking at the old adage of who'd be prepared to come to a side at the bottom of the table that isn't scoring goals. That is a major frustration.
That's the big one.
It's tough. It is tough because then you're looking for players that are prepared for the fight. I mean, Furness has come in and she says she's up for the fight, and that's the kind of attitude that you want. And obviously, she came to the team against Brighton. I'd expect her to play as well against Bristol City because I thought she put in a good show. Yeah. I thought she did very well, and I liked that midfield three of Bailey. Lawley
it seemed to work well. Yeah,
I think it does. I think it works well. One position I would like to see brought in, and this is no disrespect to Fahy, but I'd like to see a natural centre half to partner Sophie Bradley-Auckland, just because I know she's coped well for the first half of the season, but I don't see Fahy as a natural centre back.
She's CDM, isn't she?
Yeah, and I think when you're asking a player to play in a different role, you kind of you're limiting their ability first of all to play in a position that isn't their natural habitat, if you like.
Yeah.
And Fahy, she knows that herself. She feel that herself, that she's not a natural centre-half, and that's, I think, what Liverpool, I think that should be a priority, to be honest with you. I mean, the defending hasn't been bad. As we said, they're not conceding bucket loads of goals, but I think would provide the team with just kind of more confidence as a whole.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, in terms of midfield, I think Furness is I think she's a good addition.
She's a good addition.
I think she's a very good addition.
From what I've seen of her against Brighton, because the FA player was playing up, she seemed to get herself in those positions, like in the number 10 role, and she was picking out Rins, she was picking out Lawley, she was picking out all them players in good positions, but there was just, again, final product just wasn't there for any of us. Yeah. But I think that she can be like that little playmaker role for us in that midfield. And
I think she'd complement Lawley well, because I think for the second half of the season now, in terms of tactical switches, now I know Bailey and Roberts have been playing as the two. Yeah. For me, you don't need both of them now.
You don't need both.
You don't need both of them.
I think it's probably against United I would have played both of them.
In terms of winning games, though.
But in terms of winning games, you need your attacking. Exactly, you need all-out attack.
You need players now that are going to make that difference, and I think those two, Bailey and Roberts, how much are they going to impact the game? You just need one to kind of mop up, protect the back line, but you need players now that are going to create.
Go forward,
and that's why if I was Jepson, I would look at changing it to front five. To be honest with you, maybe two
just put them all. Just leave Bradley Auckland at the back on her own. She'll be fine, and just put everyone else up front.
Two attacking centre mids, and then two wingers and a striker. That's the way I'd go with it for the rest of the season.
I think you've got to go all out attack now. You've just got to put.
Because it's about taking chances now.
You've got to put 110% into everything.
There's no point in approaching games and going, oh, hard luck, but not having, say, enough shots on target or not pressurising enough now. The onus is on Liverpool really to push on and really to win games now. Yeah,
well, there is more, but I feel like we'd sit here for another half an hour, and that's not fair on everyone. So we'll end it there. Build-up show will be filmed straight after this, so keep an eye out. That'll go out on Friday for the Bristol game. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. Follow us all on our socials. I'll put them all down below. And we'll see you all next week on the new podcast. Ta-ra.